And this is one of the things that we've been learning about mushrooms over years and years of use, is that they all help a range of different systems in the body to promote health and wellness.
How can they be? Let's hear about this. This is different,
Oh
folks,
gosh,
from
like that's
yeah.
we only
Tell
got
us.
how many minutes?
This is only part one, by the way. Jerry, you're going to be our mushroom guy here on Healthy Habit Podcast. I'm excited for this one. It's the first time we've had host defense mushrooms on the new platform here, which will be available on YouTube, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, etc. We've been talking with this guest for, I want to say, over 2 years now at this point on Healthy Habit Radio, back when we were on 1100 KFNX Morning Phoenix Radio. But first time we get to speak with Jerry here on the podcast airwaves. Jerry Angelini is an integrative practitioner with training and experience in psychiatric and chronic illness rehabilitation, and is the host defense education director. His undergraduate and graduate degrees from Boston University form the foundation of his conventional medical training, which is augmented by TCM herbalism, ayurveda, and Western clinical herbalism. Since 2012, Jerry has led the National Science Education Team for Host Defense Mushrooms. He offers mycologically and herbally informed education across the United States as well as internationally. Jerry, welcome to the Healthy Habit Podcast, my friend.
Hey, it's nice to be here with you. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for taking the time today. And you're over in California, is that right?
Yeah, San Diego.
San
Not
Diego.
very sunny right now. We're getting some rain, which is well needed. It was a dry year, so
Right.
we're happy for some water.
And now when we say mycologically informed, tell us, what is it mycologically and mycology? Tell us about this.
Yeah,
field of study.
mycology is the study of all things fungi or fungi or fungi. I mean, there's so many different ways you can say it, but it has all to do with the kingdom of fungi. So this would include things like yeasts and molds, but also like the mushrooms that you might consider for food, but also our beneficial mushrooms that we use to support our health and wellness.
Amazing. And so give a little preface on the company Host Defense Mushrooms. We can start there, since this is the first time our new platform's being exposed to Host Defense Mushrooms. Tell us about it.
Yeah, for sure. Host Defense is the longest running certified organic producer of mycelium and fermented rice products in the US. Host Defense has been functioning for about 13 plus years now, I think it is. And we're owned by Fungi Perfecti.
Okay.
And this is a company that was created and is run by Paul Stamets. A lot of people know about him at this point in time. He's a really super amazing guy, really phenomenally intelligent. He has been a mycologist for over 40 years. Fungi Perfecti has been existent for over 40, basically for 40 years now. And it's just a great way to, and a place to come to get information on mushrooms, the cultivation practices of different mushrooms, and how they can be beneficial for us in our health and wellness goals.
And so how can they be? Let's hear about this. This is different,
Oh
folks,
gosh,
from
like that's we only got how many minutes?
This is only part one, by the way. We're going to be talking with Jerry throughout the year, so this is a good warm-up episode. Tell us about it.
Yeah. I think a good place to start is the concept of how Host Defense is a little bit different than some of the other mushroom companies out there, although we're like one of the oldest mushroom companies in the US for supplements, for sure. Maybe not for edibles. There's some in Pennsylvania that have been around for a long time. But in terms of the supplement world, Host Defense mushrooms, we use the mycelium grown on organically grown brown rice. So the mycelium ferments the brown rice, and you get this synergistic product. So it has both the mushroom mycelium and that fermented brown rice. And we've done quite a bit of research by third party labs, as well as some of our own internal company research. And that looks at the support for our immune system that both the mushroom mycelium and the fermented rice provide. So, like, they're both pretty amazing. And most people are already on board with fermented food. We know how important it is for our intestinal tract, and there's some great fibers as well that come from that. And we have found the same thing to be true about the host defense product. So, we don't focus solely on fruit body products. We do have some fruit bodies in some of our liquid extracts that are combined with the mycelium and the fermented rice. But really, we as a company focus on that power of mycelium and fermented substrate, or the brown rice. And we've seen the research has shown repeatedly. So we replicate the research to make sure that it's accurate, and that, it wasn't just a fluke, right? And the replicated research reinforces that the product supports immune cell engagement, so it gets the immune system up and running. We also, the product supports immune modulatory activity, and that's super important too, because the immune system has to stay in a certain set of parameters for it to be really effective, right? We don't want it to be overactive, we don't want it to be underactive. And we've also seen that host defense products support just day-to-day tissue generative activity. So it helps our body like function better on a day-to-day basis. So really beautiful research, and the effectiveness of the host defense products is been shown repeatedly, just over and over again. So it's something we can really, we can just depend upon. And our research is done in humans, like in human blood and in human clinical trials. So we're testing host defense products for efficacy in humans, and that's it, right? So there's the mycelium and the fruit body. And one of the things that most people don't always remember about mushrooms is that the fruit body is what we would call the reproductive organ, right? It holds the spores, but the mycelium is the real body of the mushroom organism, and it can live for centuries, in fact. So
it's amazing.
It's enduring. It's got all of the metabolic activity except for reproduction, but like all of the digestive processes, all of the immune processes, all of the adaptation, that's all happening in the mycelium itself. So it's really like, if you were to think about a plant, it would be like the root system and the stem and the leaves. The fruit body of the mushroom is like the flower or the seed, or maybe like the fruit itself, like an apple or a strawberry or something like that. But everything else about a plant would be comprised of within the mycelium itself. So it's really that enduring body of the mushroom.
That is,
and there's lots and lots of research on mycelial efficacy in human health and wellness too.
And based on that, I was just doing a screen share there. You saw that, Jerry? So,
yeah, it was great.
And people that are listening won't be able to see that, but we just described it. YouTube viewers will see that picture where the mycelium makes up most of the actual mushroom, which is fascinating. When people hear mushroom, they think of that above ground portion with the little cap on it. So mycelium's all underground, right?
Yeah, so it's in whatever it's growing in. So so you might think about like molds. Molds are a fungi, right? They're in the kingdom fungi. And you might have a piece of bread that like got left behind somewhere, right? And you don't really know that there's anything growing it until you see those little green things sticking up, right? And so although it's a very different species, right? Especially as compared to like reishi and cordyceps and maitake and lion's mane, very different. You don't really see the mycelium because it's growing inside that bread. And so for these other mushrooms, you never really see the mycelium because it's growing in maybe it's wood or maybe it's soil. But if you were to break up that soil, you might see those tiny white threads, and those are the mycelium itself. And again, with all of these different fungi, or what we would call multicellular fungi, right? They have that thread-like mycelial body that's associated with them. Another set of species in the kingdom fungi is yeasts, like some of our best friends, like brewer's yeasts that create our bread, that make, beer, like that's brewer's yeast too, right? Some people are familiar with Saccharomyces boulardii, which is a great probiotic yeast, right? So just like in our bacteria, we have friendly bacteria, we have probiotic microbes and pathogenic bacteria. We have friendly fungi and not so friendly fungi. So we stay away from the candida. We don't want that. That's in fact a sister species to the Saccharomyces. But we do love our friendly fungi like our Saccharomyces boulardii and all of these mushrooms that have been shown through literally hundreds of research studies and years of use in clinical practice to support a range of health benefits.
Jerry, you're going to be our mushroom guy here on Healthy Habit Podcast. Okay, so just
Yeah.
that's going to be your title. Okay, you're going to have the edge because this is an important topic. You know, when people hear immune support, especially during COVID and flu
Yeah.
season, they think of vitamin C, vitamin
Yeah.
D, zinc,
Yeah.
elderberry, which are fantastic. Oregano,
Awesome. All
great.
great things.
But
Yeah.
tell us more about how mushrooms fit into this picture. Is it just immune system support that they provide, or what are they? What are the big things that they're going to be helpful for?
Yeah, for sure. So every mushroom that we carry in the host defense line supports an engaged and balanced immune response in healthy individuals. So a really great way to get that immune system up and running. But then what we have found through years and years of use and research is that specific mushrooms will also support other areas of the body. And this is great. So you can get like a 2-for-1 or a 3-for-1 with one species. Like, so let's take one of our favorites, which is lion's mane, right? Everyone loves lion's mane nowadays. And lion's mane supports a balanced and effective and engaged immune response. It also supports our intestinal tract health and wellness. And it does this through the presence of a number of different compounds that help what are called tight junctions in the intestinal tract lining. So it keeps everything nice and functional in those intestinal tract cells. But what people really come to lion's mane for is its support of memory, mood, cognitive functioning. So there you go. There's one mushroom, and I just talked about 3 ways that it supports your health and wellness. It supports your immune functioning, it supports intestinal health, and it supports cognitive functioning, memory, and mood. So and this is one of the things that we've been learning about mushrooms over years and years of use is that they all help a range of different systems in the body to promote health and wellness.
Couldn't agree more, Jerry. And for all the research buffs out there that want to go even deeper after this episode, you can just go to Google and type in medicinal mushrooms or mushrooms health and add the word scholar at the end. And you can read for 5, 10, 15 hours there on just mushrooms. The research definitely supports their use, right? It's overwhelming amount of studies at this point. So why would one take an extract, let's say, versus a capsule?
Okay. Yeah, good question. So you can find mushroom products in either a liquid extract form or in a capsule form. We also have powders here at Host Defense. And it really is about 2 things. The first is, what's your palate like? Capsules, super simple. You don't taste anything. You just take a capsule, you're good to go, right? If you got some like particular likes and dislikes in terms of your palate, the mushroom extracts taste like mushrooms and alcohol, because that's exactly what they are. They're mushrooms and alcohol, right?
Yeah.
So if you don't like the alcohol flavor, if you don't like the flavor of mushrooms, stick with those capsules for sure. If you're open to that flavor, the liquids are really rapid in their absorption.
Okay.
Oftentimes, people report feeling the impact of, say, like cordyceps or reishi within 2 to 5 minutes. So, really fast uptake of those mushrooms. Um, the powders are great for people that like smoothies. You know, you can just throw your serving of the mushroom powders into your smoothies. You can put them on food in the morning. Like if you're an oatmeal person in the morning, you can just mix it right in with your oatmeal.
Yeah.
If you're having stews, you can throw it into your stew. The powders are they're mild in their flavor. So they do have a mild hint of the mushroom that they are. So lion's mane will taste a little bit like lion's mane mushroom. The turkey tail powder will taste a little bit like turkey tail mushroom. But remember, there's also that fermented rice in there. So it does, it takes the edge off of that flavor for people that have that sensitive palate.
Mm-hmm.
But you still know that, like, wow, that's really, I actually like the flavor of those powders.
Okay.
They're very complex. They have some of the mild bitterness that's associated with some of those mushrooms, but they also have a sweetness from that fermented rice too. So it's a really complex palate or flavor palette associated with the powder. So, really, if you want liquids, if you want that rapid uptake and engaged and balanced immune support, and you're good with the flavor of the liquids, rock on. If you're hesitant about those flavors,
Yeah.
stick with that capsule. If you're a smoothie person or like to add it into your food, use those powders.
Just throw it in. Yeah, do a powder scoop or two, throw it in there.
Yeah,
This question's going to come up. It's come up many times, even just in
yeah,
customers here shopping in the store.
yeah,
Somebody that has candida overgrowth or fungal overgrowth,
right,
or those toenails with the fungus growing
right.
on there, and or the toe falling off because of history of fungal infections. Is this safe to use? Is this a different
Oh yeah,
type of fungus? It's okay to use.
yeah. So, like I said earlier, like candida is a pathogenic microorganism, right? But our probiotic mushrooms, they're prebiotic mostly, right?
Okay.
And what happens is like reishi and lion's mane, chaga, cordyceps, maitake, they've all been shown to increase the proliferation of our probiotic microflora in our intestinal tract. So they're prebiotics, and that's really important because
Yeah.
we want to increase our probiotic microflora. So we use these prebiotic fibers, and we know that fermented rice and the mushroom mycelium, these are all prebiotics. So they're going to help our probiotic microflora, like lactobacilli and bifidobacteria, really flourish in our intestinal tract. So absolutely, you can consider using host defense mushrooms to support your probiotic microflora in your intestinal tract.
Okay. So tell us then, what's your favorite? Let's say now we're in the new year. At the time of this
Yeah,
recording, it's January the 5th, 2023.
yeah,
To
yeah.
start the new year, Jerry, what's your favorite type of mushroom or blend of mushrooms from Host Defense?
Wow. Okay. So I'm a really big fan of lion's mane. I just, especially with like all of my need to be on target and on the ball. I love using lion's mane every day. I use the Breathe formula every day, and
Okay.
Breathe contains cordyceps, reishi, and chaga, and it helps keep my breathing really nice and graceful. Cordyceps is known to support O2 intake, so you take in more oxygen in your lungs, and reishi and cordyceps and chaga all support a balanced immune response in your lungs and upper respiratory system. So for me, that Breathe formula I take every single day to kind of help with my graceful breathing. It keeps my immune system engaged and balanced. And then I think another great one for like just everyday use um, is Stamets 7. It's
Okay.
just a brilliant 7 mushroom formula that supports your immune system and just about every system of your body. It has cordyceps and reishi. It's got lion's mane, chagan, maitake, agaricus blazei, and messima. And so they really do. They support everything from graceful lung functioning to digestive health to energy and athletic performance and recovery from athletic activity. They support like cardiovascular health,
Wow.
memory, mood, cognitive functioning. So really, like it's really your whole body support.
Yeah.
And you can do like 1 to 2 grams a day. If you want a little bit more, because you're like, wow, I could really use a lot of
Right.
help with all of that. Get the powder, use a measured teaspoon. That's 3 grams. Do it early in the morning when you first wake up, and talk about getting a zing through your whole day.
Yeah.
Really beautiful way to energize your system and support your whole body health and wellness.
Would you say someone that's like 6'9" or 6'11" needs maybe an extra scoop or two to feel the benefits, or what do you think about that?
Yeah. So, like, whether it's like your height or just your body mass. So, I run
Okay.
around 200 pounds. I use a little bit more than someone that
Got it.
weighs 120, you know? So, like, just take that into consideration. If you're really on the light side, if you're running about 100 pounds, like a gram is a great place
Yeah.
to start. But at 200 pounds, I use about 3 grams of mushrooms a day, but that's
Okay.
with like all of them
Right.
together. And that's a great place for me personally that works really well.
Amazing. Jerry, we're talking with Jerry Angelini here, folks, of Host Defense Mushrooms, and we carry the whole line here at Healthy Habit Health Foods and hostdefense.com. Is that a good starting point, Jerry?
It's a great place. We've
Okay.
got lots of great information for you. Check out all of our like not just the products for sure,
Right.
but we got lots of great information about the different mushrooms. You can check out our product line, our product guide as well, and that gives you a really great understanding of who is Host Defense, how we cultivate and create this really amazing product.
Amazing. We have about a minute left here, Jerry. What's a good
Yeah.
recap? We've hit on lion's mane. You mentioned it briefly for the neurological brain health benefits. Then we
Yep.
touched on the Breathe formula and Stamets 7 for maybe your
Yeah,
favorite 2023 mushrooms to start the year. What's a good takeaway? And we'll have you on again, but as a good
for sure.
first takeaway.
Yeah, don't be scared of our beneficial mushrooms. They're really beautiful supports for our health and wellness. We all know how important it is to keep our immune systems engaged and balanced, but we can also do so much more for our bodies by focusing in on these really amazing substances, these beneficial mushrooms.
Well, I just want to thank you, Jerry, for taking the time to come on and your consistency. Even before we started this platform, Jerry's been coming on Healthy Habit Radio through 1100 KFNX. We appreciate your dedication.
It's always a pleasure to work with you guys. Yeah, you guys are a great store. You have great information. You provide a really beautiful service to our community.
Thank you so much. And we look forward to our next episode about once every month or so. We'll be
Yeah,
talking to you. So, again,
sounds
this
great.
is our mushroom guy, everybody. Make sure you mark your calendars and look out for our next episode with
For
Jerry
sure.
Angelini. Thank you, Jerry.
Happy New Year.